this is what I'm going to do. So I went it up, put it out there, made sure everything was ready to go, opened it up, turned it on, and then snapped it shut. Well, the interesting thing about what happened is that when Michael and I were in the trailer together, and Sam was in there too, that we experienced the motion, the moving of the rocking of the trailer back and forth, and then I got up the next morning. Now we had verifiable loss of time too, which is an interesting story, but I won't. I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with Bigfoot or not, but we verified that we lost, roughly about an hour. And when I got up the next morning and went out there to check on the camera, whatever it was had gone around the back of the camera, and so it had circled around. It was smart enough to know what was there, and had opened it up and turned it off, left it open.
Well, there you are.
Yeah, and
nothing surprises me.
Yeah, and I thought that was awesome because, rather than a picture that I know that I would have posted online and somebody would have said, "Oh, you're making it up. That's that's this, that's that." To everybody else, they didn't understand how happy I was that had happened, because I knew that meant that something was out there, and it was having fun with me. It was having fun, and it seems like they have a great sense of humor like that, because they do kind of crazy stuff like that all the time.
Well, they think that we think we're smarter than them, and they toy with that idea, because we're not. These things are step above you. I mean, it's not step above you, but they do things that we don't understand. I think we have abilities, you and I, all humans do, that we just have not reached yet. We haven't evolved far enough to understand what we really are made of and what we're made about, what we're for. And you get into that, and you start studying what we're supposed to be and how we were created and what entity made us and what we're made in the image of. And then understand that these things are part human, but the nuclear DNA is probably not. It's from an alien source, like we are. I think we're hybrids too, by the way. And but whatever it is that they've got, I think we have the same thing. We just haven't learned how to use it yet. And that's the vibrational frequency. You've got to get into that. That's everything is about vibrational frequency. And understanding that stuff is not that hard to get your head around. It's a little hard. You never will understand quantum physics thoroughly unless you can tell me how far it is to the end of the universe. Nobody's been able to do that yet. But quantum physics explains that stuff. That's what created quantum physics, was the need for classical science to understand things that couldn't be generated again. And anyway, I think it was 1867 when Planck, Planck, he came up with the quantum physics experiments, and that's what started off for Einstein, these people in the early 1900s. Yes. So it's really fun to look into. It's very interesting stuff.
Max Planck, there you go. Famous mathematician as well. We've got we've only got about 30 minutes left to the rest of the show here, Ron, but would it be possible for us to listen to some of these sounds that you've recorded? I don't know if that's a capability that you have on your laptop there or not, but I'm just dying to hear some of these things if we could.
I didn't send any of those to you, huh? I usually do that.
Oh, gosh,
sorry,
that's all right. Well, I don't know if you have that capability on your own end there. That would be fun.
I do. I have to hold my cell phone up to it. Let me get these out.
All right.
Okay. Here's a rapid fire sequence. I'll hold my phone up so you can hear it.
All right.
My sound system up here. Oh, able to hear that?
My word, Ron, we could hear that very well. If I was sitting in a nylon tent somewhere at 8,400 feet and heard that outside my tent, I would be going crazy. I can't imagine. Where was this sound recorded? Do you know anything about the background?
Oh, yeah, I was there. Yeah, it was recorded right behind our shelter. Al Berry actually recorded that one. We all recorded it, but he got the very clearest one. So this one he had studied at the University of Wyoming, showing that they weren't manipulated, they weren't speeded up. It was a male and a female conversing with each other. And it was about 40 feet. He had it hardwired a little sibling tree, his microphone, behind our shelter about 40 feet. So it was fairly close to that. A microphone, obviously, about 40 feet from our shelter. But there's been other times when they were right by our shelter. You could hear them breathing and hear them chest beating sometimes. I got hours of sounds. I mean, this went on for years, not just a time or two. A lot of people think you just pull up in a truck, open up your tailgate, and had a six-pack of beer and started hearing these things. But that's not the way it works. It did work like a very sober camp and a very sincere camp. But you gotta have fun. I say this to everybody: you gotta have fun with this stuff because people take you. You know, they'll start making fun of you if you're making too serious. And they don't want to believe you.
Well,
sure. So I try to keep it light and tell people just keep your attitude right when you're out in the woods and you think these things are around. I got a whole list of do's and don'ts about this, how to get interaction. But again, they're not all the same. So I also caution people to keep your guard up because you still don't know what they're really all about. We think we know quite a bit, but we don't. And I think I'm on the right trail with this alien intervention into the genome of different type of animals and primates. But I could be wrong, and I'm able to, if I learn something that doesn't lead me that way, well, I'm ready to go the way that the facts lead me. But so far, I've been on this for 47 years now, and it's all leading to that. When I see these human remains that aren't human in Bolivia and Peru and all over the world, really, and then you got these sounds like we've recorded. I've run into this for a reason. I don't know why. I hear people tell me they hear sounds like I've got, but they're not recording them. They just heard them. I mentioned earlier in the program about Albert Ostman from Canada, who got interviewed by John Green in 1924 is when he had his encounter. He wasn't interviewed till 53, but he was held captive for 6 days by a family of these Bigfoot creatures, and they were a male, a female, and two adolescents. And he had no idea what they were going to do with him or what he was there for, but he said they chattered amongst themselves very rapidly. So that's what they do. You hear this rapid chatter. It sounds like a group of people somewhere, but there's no people around, so you just, when they talk so fast like that, and very aggressive. One thing they can't hide, I mentioned this too, is their aptitude. They can sound like an 800-pound owl when they hoot like an owl. And I had that happen once up there. Always listening to an owl, so I turned my recorder on, and it squealed back, and that owl sound turned into a Bigfoot chatter. But we had some, in 2016, I went up there with my wife and another gentleman just to check out our camp, and the shelter isn't there anymore. We had to take it down in 2015. Just crumbling too bad. So we set up a little tent, and Carrie and I were in this one tent with an open top because it's a really nice night. 8,400 feet, you can see 100,000 stars just in a blink, and read the newspaper. And this light, about 3 foot long, glowing, not obnoxiously glowing, but it was lit, comes floating by us about 40, 50 feet away. And we watched it for several minutes. not several minutes, several seconds, probably less than a minute, but very close to it. It wasn't going fast, but it was manipulating itself through the trees about 4 or 5 feet off the ground. How do you explain that? What is that? We didn't imagine it, and anyway, that's kind of strange things that goes on up there.
Yeah,
you hardly ever go about something happening that's just out of our normal. And your brain can work on strange things, but you always see something strange, like you mentioned earlier about all these people might have seen this UFO, but nobody reports it. Well, I think a lot of people see one of these things too, and they think it's a bear, so they just don't think much about it.
Well, Kevin.
Anyway,
Kevin, now that you've heard this this sound tonight, what's your impressions of this?
Well, it's definitely again very similar to some sounds that I've heard. Especially the chattering sound that Albert Ostman and Ron has recorded. That's definitely there, and the imitation of the owl sound is very, very, very common. A lot of people talk about that, the big, huge owl sound. And sometimes it's really rotten. I mean, like a really, really bad owl sound. But it's almost like it's I've been up in Granite Falls over here, and it's been in the middle of the day, and we've heard this giant owl sound. And Ron's right. In a way, it's like people don't realize that's not supposed to be there. It's like the UFO that Peter was talking about before. People sometimes they don't realize that that's not supposed to be there because they don't even have enough situational awareness to realize what's going on. But I've talked to Carrie about the lightsaber, quote unquote lightsaber incident, and and it's Ron's right. It's the two reports from the two of them. They both experienced it. And and how do you explain that? I mean, it's not like somebody's carrying around a fluorescent light tube with no power source up there. It's just but that's the type of things that seem to happen. These very strange type of experiences, and it is interesting that I think in some cases, Ron, you've made the quip that that it sounded like a married couple fighting with each other, and it does sound like that. It's like, well, it's like, it's a, you don't know what they're saying, but to me, some of the sounds do sound like whenever you listen to them, it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, no, you don't do anything. You don't go. You go. It's almost like. It almost does something without being able to interpret it. Just from the intonation of that, you do think it sounds like a family kind of arguing about what we're going to do with these people.
Well, and it definitely sounds to me that there is a deeper voice and a higher voice talking, communicating with one another. You can definitely tell that in the matter of fact. I don't know, Ron, can you play a portion of that over again for us, because I think we just piqued people's interest at this point. That would be great to get a reprise on that and listen to it again.
Sure. I got a lot of this. If you want to hear something else, I got somebody communicating with them also. I'd like to play. How'd you like that?
Oh, my. Ron, I'm playing subtitles in my head listening to this. just imagining what they're saying.